Scotty Reed here with a Black Talk Radio News report. We're going to take a look at some headlines concerning the indictment. I think it was 12 or 13 Russians, but we'll be taking a look at some of the headlines that have come across the news wire concerning that. I know here in North Carolina, which is where Black Talk Media Project is based, we've been mentioned in the indictments and some of the news media surrounding Special Agent Robert Mueller's indictments, and is being tagged as meddling or interference is some of the words that have been used to describe. I've also taken a look at the indictment itself. We had some local media that linked to it, provided a PDF file, and it's really much to do about nothing. Is it something that you should be concerned about, that you should be watchful about? Yes. The only laws that were broken were identity theft and fraud, wire fraud, and transferring money to individuals using, setting up fake accounts like on PayPal, buying, and these are allegations contained in the indictment, the grand jury indictment from Special Counsel Robert Mueller. And really, though, he should be fired. Trump should get rid of him. Millions of dollars spent to look for so-called collusion between the Russian government and the Trump campaign, and all you can come up with is an alleged troll farm that funded political activities primarily based on the First Amendment. But I do get the criminal charges. You use stolen identities of real Americans. You set up these bank accounts. You put money in these bank accounts. How much money, I still haven't come across. I don't know if hundreds of millions were spent, if $1 million was spent, if it was 50,000. I'm simply not privy to that information right now. Haven't come across it in any of the media that I have been reading. But so they set up these fake accounts so that they could then pay for or contribute payments towards putting on rallies. Some of the rallies were for Trump, some were anti-Trump after he got elected. Also mentioned in the indictment there was some personal financial gain that might have been had, so there's motive enough right there. But what I can't get past, what does not meet the smell test, is that this was some grand conspiracy to interfere in the 2016 elections. Some of the headlines talk about influence, but everybody has an opinion, everybody has a viewpoint, and everybody has an agenda pretty much. We hope that there's more people with a justice agenda, specifically when it comes to abolishing legalized slavery, which is practiced here in the United States. But, everybody has an agenda, and they're going to try to influence people. Now, how much influence they have, that remains to be seen. It was not enough influence, in my professional opinion, as a political analyst for all these years, going on, 10 years of political reporting and analysis. And this does not meet the smell test politically and how it's trying to be portrayed. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the headlines. The headline reads, so let's go to Politico.com first. The headline reads, Russians enter U.S. to plot election medley. Democrats, a partisan political party, say the indictment proves Russian meddling is no quote-unquote hoax, while Trump allies say the charges of Trump campaign collusion with the Kremlin remain baseless. And I have to say that I don't agree with a lot of the language and how the media outlet tries to frame it. But again, everybody has an agenda. Everybody is trying to influence the reader, the viewer, to a certain viewpoint. They want them to arrive. They should present evidence, but a lot of evidence is lacking that I would make this like headline news. We're talking about a troll farm. All right, so let's read just a little bit. Special Counsel Robert Mueller charged 13 Russian nationals and 3 Russian entities on Friday with an illegal information warfare, quote unquote, scheme to disrupt the 2016 presidential election and assist the candidacy of President Donald Trump. So again, when you're talking about information warfare, all they're talking about is information being transmitted on social media. And the indictment also talks about paying money towards political protests, both pro-Trump and anti-Trump, and also saying that there was a financial gain to these 13 suspects, Russian nationals. And so that's what we're alleging there. That's what's really being alleged there when they talk about information warfare. Now, some of the information that I saw come out in just the general news cycle and being a consumer of social media, and because obviously as a political commentator and analysis, I need to plug into the modern forms of information. And so a lot of the information that I saw about Hillary Clinton was absolutely true. I mean, as a political analyst, a person with an opinion, a person with an agenda, and that agenda is justice and bringing an end to slavery, I certainly produced my own articles, broadcasts, did live internet radio streams, and tried to influence people to look at Hillary Clinton in the true light. And we'll also get into some of that during this segment. Looking at this woman in her true light, I was very happy to hear from a caller who listens to some of my broadcasts say that I influenced her. The information that I presented to her about Hillary Clinton, and a lot of it was just rehashing old stuff like the super predator comments, the Clinton administration role and Hillary Clinton's role in promoting anti-black propaganda, as well as legislation that was anti-freedom, anti-black. It targeted black people, targeted poor people, and she certainly was out there in the news media and going to events supporting this type of legislation, which in hindsight, even the Clintons, or at least Bill Clinton, has reluctantly admitted that they harmed a whole lot of people, and a lot of those people are still in modern day slavery and human trafficking. Okay, so it's plenty of information, and we'll get to some of that information that was real information. Now, if these Twitter troll farms, or if they were on Facebook or paying to boost Facebook ads or articles and things of that nature, or putting out memes, and it was pointing to any of these facts, I would say to you, what's the problem with the truth? What's the problem with the truth? The only crime I see here is financial crime, identity theft of the individuals. I do not see a crime against the United States.gov. I don't see a crime against USA Inc., the corporation. I do not see a crime against U.S. citizens such as myself. Okay, so the Politico article goes on to read, it charges, the dramatic indictment reveals a bold, covert effort that went beyond the previous known use of quote-unquote fake news and social media misdirection to divide American voters and harm Trump's Democratic opponent, Hillary Clinton. Again, as if the Clintons, as political personalities and celebrities, did not already come with that baggage, with people who, since the 80s, who have been solidly anti-Clinton policies that they have supported. Okay, so that was already there. That was already organic, and these 13 Russians and however many Twitter accounts they had with however many followers, them paying for these little rallies or contributing to rallies and no, it does not rise to the scandal that the mainstream media, or it does not it is not logical to think that they had a huge impact on influencing the outcome of the election. Again, there is no evidence supporting what you would call actual undermining of democracy, is how some of the news media has put it. But no crimes, no hacking the voter databases, flipping votes for Clinton or flipping votes for Donald Trump. During the Democratic primaries, it was so much going on there with the DNC basically admitting in court in a lawsuit by Bernie Sanders supporters and other DNC donors to the DNC primaries that they pretty much had deal with Clinton in place to make her the nominee, and the machinations were in place to make that happen. So, you know, how selective we are about who we're prosecuting for undermining democracy, who have actually engaged in actual federal electioneering. This is, you know, so let's move on from this article. Let's go to another report. Let's go to the LAtimes.com, where they did a piece. It appears as it pulls up. Clinton digital trolling. I believe this is a story concerning a super PAC that was formed in order to confront people on Twitter. Again, these were paid. They paid individuals. They paid people to troll anyone online who said anything negative about Hillary Clinton. This wasn't organic opposition. This was troll farm, basically. Be nice to Hillary Clinton online or risk a confrontation with her super PAC. This was reported by the LA Times back in 2016, back in May of 2016, well ahead of, you know, although it was already decided in smoky field back rooms, but this was way ahead of Hillary Clinton securing the nomination or Donald Trump securing the nomination. So we have troll farms that are connected to Hillary Clinton backing super PACs. So it says that when the internet's legions of Hillary hecklers steal away the chat rooms and Facebook pages to vent grievances about Clinton, express revulsion toward Clinton, and launch attacks on Clinton, they now may find themselves in a surprising place, confronted by a multi-million-dollar super PAC working with Clinton. Hillary Clinton's well-heeled backers have opened a new frontier in digital campaigning, one that seems to have been inspired by some of the internet's worst instincts. Correct the record, a super PAC coordinating with the Clinton campaign. So this is direct coordination between Hillary Clinton's campaign and a troll farm, a super PAC. For all those who talk about getting this dark money, getting all of this money out of politics because they're influencing the process. Again, what are these Russians being accused of? Influencing the process. So anyway, this correct the record, again, a super PAC that was coordinating, according to the LA Times, with Clinton's campaign, is spending some $1 million to find and confront social media users who post unflattering messages about the Democratic frontrunner. So I don't know if I was a target of one of these attacks, but I certainly, through Black Talk Radio Network's Twitter profile, was tweeting out, as well as the content we were producing was going out through all social media networks that we're plugged into, but certainly Twitter, because certainly I was trying to influence as an individual and inform people about Hillary Clinton's policies and just her character. It is no secret that I do not like Hillary Clinton. I think that she should be in prison for murder, and I have supporting evidence. It's all in the public record, but we're spending millions of dollars to go after 13 Russians who came here to run some kind of political scam where they was making money and being mischievous and spending money to support rallies. I mean, some of the things they spent money on was to have a cage constructed, a fake prison cage constructed, and pay an actress to play Hillary Clinton in the orange jumpsuit. We saw those images, and they were out long before. You saw those out during her run against Barack Obama for the Democratic primary. People have been wanting the Clintons, both Bill and Hillary Clinton, in a prison jumpsuit for a very, very long time. So it's not even something that's original. But these are some of the things that in the indictment accused them of paying for. I'm like, really? Wow. So the LA Times goes on to report, in effect, the efforts aim to spend a large sum of money to increase the amount of trolling that already exists online. The plan comes as Clinton operatives grapple with the reality that her supporters just aren't as engaged and aggressive online as are her detractors inside and outside the Democratic Party. So the Clintons, again, have been universally unliked for a very, very, very long time. This is no secret. I mean, it goes back decades. So to say 13 Russians somehow created all of this anti-Clinton propaganda that influenced all of these voters, millions of voters, again, who haven't been liking the Clintons for a very long time, including those who vote Democrat. So anyway, the lack of engagement is one of Clinton's bigger tactical vulnerabilities, particularly when compared with rivals like Donald Trump, whose viral social media attacks are legion, and Senator Bernie Sanders, who is backed by passionate army of media-savvy millennials. So, but again, Hillary Clinton has always struggled with personality. Her cult of personality, people seem to picture her true face, in my opinion. And it is not a pretty face. And people are pretty informed about, and obviously you got some people out there making outlandish claims or allegations that have yet to be proven, like Clinton connections to child pornography, or you don't even have to go there. But yes, that kind of wild allegations are out there. But there is a plenty that are documented allegations of very serious crimes against humanity. So, but again, here we have a super PAC of multi-millionaires, billionaires, hiring trolls, hiring people, experts, influencers to attack people who express any kind of dislike or unfavorable opinion towards Hillary Clinton. You know, that's how the whole Bernie Bro thing came about, and branding people sexist, while their candidate Hillary Clinton campaign had very sexist policies, and as the Me Too movement has revealed lately, harbored sexual assaulters, people in her inner circle. This is the Atlantic.com. This also came out in May of 2016. A $1 million fight against Hillary Clinton's online trolls. A super PAC has a plan to defend the Democratic presidential frontrunner and her supporters on social media. Will it work? So lies some money. This was a tactic being employed by the Clinton campaign and big money out there for all those that call themselves Democrats and say they're against all of this money through these super PACs. It says, in dark corners of the internet, Hillary Clinton is a crook and a liar. Facebook groups Stop Hillary Clinton in 2016. Americans Against Hillary Clinton malign the former First Lady and current Democratic presidential frontrunner. Twitter accounts signal disdain using hashtags like Never Clinton, Never Hillary, and Crooked Hillary. At least some Clinton allies aren't content. Let me back up here. But again, it says in the dark corners of the internet. Why it got to be the dark corners? What I was seeing, it was on Front Street. It wasn't hard to find people who have very disfavorable views of Hillary Clinton and know she is in fact a liar. She has lied about many things that have been documented. The Bosnian sniper fire, and I mean, do I really have to rehash all of that? So again, here we have the Atlantic framing it in the dark corners of the internet. No, it was right there on Front Street. At least some Clinton allies aren't content to sit idly by. The Atlantic piece continues in April. Correct the record. Again, here's this super PAC devoted to defending Clinton announced a plan to fight attacks against Clinton and her supporters online by sinking more than $1 million into personnel and infrastructure for a digital task force. According to a press release heralding the effort, the task force, which was given the name Barrier Breakers 2016, will engage in online messaging both for Secretary Clinton and to push back against attackers on social media. What possibly could go wrong? The Atlantic piece goes on to say, for one thing, the effort threatened to validate a long-standing criticism that Clinton can't generate adequate enthusiasm. And again, that's a very legitimate criticism of hers that's also very long-standing, saying she lacks personality. She isn't an authentic person. Give people credit for being able to spot lying politicians and spin doctors and people who have rehearsed lines and don't mean what they say. For one thing, the effort threatened to validate a long-standing criticism that Clinton can't generate adequate enthusiasm. It suggested her allies were willing to spend eye-poppingly large sums of money to shut down opponents. Mockery and cynicism ensued. They're going to spend $1 million to go out there to attack regular people who support Bernie Sanders. John Ayadarola of the progressive web series The Young Turks marveled shortly after the news broke. Correct the Record was quick to say it had no intention of resorting to attacks of its own. But again, this isn't true. If you're confronting people who have a unfavorable bias and call her a liar, like I have many times, and you seem to like you're going to correct us, that's confrontation. That's an attack. You started labeling people sexist, smearing them with Bernie bros, even if their gender was that of a woman. Elizabeth Shrapnel, a spokesperson for the Super PAC, told the Daily Beast in April, Correct the Record claims it can legally coordinate with the Clinton campaign and does not engage in paid public communications. I think someone should check the record. Check the record of Correct the Record and see if they pay to promote any kind of Twitter ads, any kind of Facebook ads. And I'm willing to bet you that there is a great chance perhaps, that they have. Okay? All right, so again, just more so-called mainstream evidence of the Hillary Clinton campaign, element of the political infrastructure here in the United States, the two parties that control everything and shut other parties out. We don't have true democracy. But let's go to the Intercept. The Bernie Bros narrative, a cheap campaign tactic masquerading as journalism and social activism. This was published in January of 2016. So the concoction of the Bernie Bro narrative by pro-Clinton journalists. Now we're talking about journalists here. And it is true and researchable that the Clinton campaign and internal emails that were leaked, hacked, whatever narrative you want to adopt, but I'm in the camp that they were leaked, showed that the Clinton campaign wanted to promote people like Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, people that they thought represented extreme right-wing views. Again, the Clinton campaign helped pay for a dossier and bought information on Donald Trump, and they wanted to see him get the nomination and got their friends in the mainstream media to do it. CNN, this all documented, showing empty podiums of Donald Trump as opposed to showing real speeches being given to tens of thousands, in some cases reported over 100,000 people in stadiums at Bernie Sanders rallies. But you're showing empty podiums of waiting with the clock ticking of Donald Trump, where he's supposed to speak, hours upon hours of this. And these emails revealed that there was, and we certainly would like more information or evidence to surface to show that there was a coordination between journalists, just like how they're saying. And I think those text messages, and the FBI claims to have lost a lot of them, where you had these two FBI agents who were sleeping with each other on the job and exchanging intimate text messages that clearly showed their anti-Trump bias and their inability to be objective investigators, where they were expressing a desired outcome and expressing a pro-Hillary Clinton bias. But these are supposed to be people who are professional investigators. So this is no different. So now we're seeing in the corporate media, you also had your Clinton insiders. So it goes on to say, this is the piece that was written by The Intercept in 2016 of January. The concoction of the Bernie brother bro narrative by a pro-Clinton journalist has been a potent political tactic and a journalistic disgrace. It's intended to imply two equally false claims. One, a refusal to march enthusiastically behind the Wall Street enriched, multiple war advocating, despot embracing Hillary Clinton is explainable not by ideology or political conviction, but largely, if not exclusively, by sexism, demonstrated by the fact that men, not women, support Sanders. His supporters are quote-unquote bros. And two, Sanders supporters are uniquely abusive and misogynistic in their online behavior. Needless to say, a crucial tactical prong of this innuendo is that any attempt to refute it is itself proof of insensitivity to sexism and not sexism itself, as the accusatory reaction to this article will instantly illustrate. And again, it is February 17, 2018, a couple of weeks after articles published and revealed, no denial from Hillary Clinton, in fact, confirmation that she coddled in her 2008 campaign. And again, when she ran against Donald Trump, this man, a so-called spiritual advisor or a so-called pastor, a married man, was sexually harassing a teen volunteer, and that Hillary Clinton shielded this man, even though it appears overwhelmingly senior staff members advised that this man be terminated from his position with the campaign, and Hillary Clinton shielded this man in 2008 when she was running against Barack Obama in the Democratic primary, and then hired him again for her latest run at the presidency, which of course we know failed. So it becomes, the article reads from The Intercept, it becomes such an all-purpose, handy pro-Clinton smear that even consummate actual bros, for whom the term was originally coined, straight guys who act with entitlement and aggression, such as Paul Krugman, are now reflexively and unironically applying it to anyone who speaks ill of Hillary Clinton, even when they know nothing else about the people they're smearing, including their gender, age, or sexual orientation. Thus, a male policy analyst who criticized Sanders' health care plan is getting the Bernie Bo treatment, sneered Krugman. Unfortunately for the New York Times, that analyst Charles Gaba said in response that he's really not comfortable with Krugman's referring to diehard Bernie supporters as Bernie bros because it implies that only college-age men support Senator Sanders, which obviously isn't the case. It is indeed obviously not the case. There are literally millions of women who support Sanders over Clinton. A new Iowa poll yesterday shows Sanders with a 15-point lead over Clinton among women under 45, while 1/3 of Iowa women over 45 support him. So again, here is fake news being used, plants in the corporate media, pro Hillary Clinton, favorable, it's all documented. But yet there is no investigation, no mass firing from the so-called legitimate sources of news and information. All right, so that's the article from The Intercept. Now, again, all it is telling us, what they're trying to tell us is that if not for meddling from 13 individual Russians running troll farms, something Hillary Clinton's campaign and super PACs connected to Hillary Clinton, coordinating with her campaign, were running troll farms. It was Hillary Clinton wants Gaddafi killed. I wanted to share this from the Huffington Post. So the allegation is that the United States elections were meddled in by foreign agents. When you have the United States doing the very exact same thing, not only internally in the United States in a partisan fashion by political actors such as the Clintons, but when we look at the actual criminal, not civil, but a criminal act to undermine a country and overthrow its rightful government, Hillary Clinton has been at the center of it. Where is the special investigator? Where is the probe? Where are the congressional hearings? Where's the special counsel and the grand jury indictment of Hillary Clinton, who broke U.S. law, not some UN charter or international law, but U.S. law, and calling for a head of state to be murdered? Where's the angst? Where is the outrage? Where are the prosecutions? In an article published on the World Post, picked up by HuffingtonPost.com, see if we can get a date here. Sure, it was sometime in 2011. It was only last week that the U.S. government tried to negatively portray Iran and Iranians by associating them with political assassinations. Again, the United States spends billions of dollars on troll farms and producing these slick-looking, official-looking, legitimate-looking websites spewing U.S. propaganda that's favorable to its policies. There's video on YouTube of Hillary Clinton asking Congress for more money to influence individuals, the citizens in their home countries in Europe and elsewhere. It was just this week, the article goes on to say, that U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton openly called for the political assassination of Muammar Gaddafi, the Libyan leader. We hope he can be captured or killed soon, she said, while in Libya, 2 Libyans, the audacity of the United States to send an official high-level representative of the Obama administration to Libya and say, we hope he can be captured or killed soon. It is actually against the law what the U.S. government is doing, and not some kind of United Nations law or international legal standard or the sort that sound fantastically humane but are actually just unenforced moral standards that most countries, especially superpowers, routinely ignore. State-sponsored assassination is actually illegal according to the laws of the United States itself. In the decades before and since, President Gerald Ford signed United States Presidential Executive Order 11905 on February the 18th, that 1976, so it'll be the anniversary of that tomorrow. With it being February the 17th, 2018 today. So the U.S. government, let me just back up and read that again. In the decades before and since, President Gerald Ford signed United States Presidential Executive Order 11905 on February 18, 1976, the U.S. government has directly and indirectly assassinated people, many people. And Executive Order 11905 is not exactly ambiguous legal speak. It's one of the most straightforward pieces of legal documentation you will find. In Section 5, subsection G, it clearly states that no employee of the United States government shall engage in or conspire to engage in political assassination. Where is the indictments? Where's the special counsel? The Republicans and Democrats are equally guilty in my eyes, and perhaps that answers the question. They're equally guilty because they then ignored her breaking of that law and then passed legislation to fund and authorize an illegal attack on a U.S. ally in Libya, an ally since the George Bush administration against the quote-unquote war on terror, greatly assisting in suppressing terrorist attacks in Africa. And now look at Libya today with all of these Islamic extremist groups who pretty much, in factions, pretty much control Libya and have been reported and documented to be engaging in the slave trade of African migrants. People that were previously being given jobs and employed by the Libyan government under the leadership of Muammar Gaddafi. The Huffington Post piece goes on to say, but not only does this law of the land continue to be violated, it is undertaken with boast and bluster, as well as the requisite vocabulary of patriotism by high-level figures in the U.S. government. This week's announcement in Libya by Hillary Clinton that she would like Libyan President Muammar Gaddafi captured or killed soon, though blunt, should not have come as a surprise. Under Obama, 2 high-profile assassinations have already been paraded in the national and international media in 2000 alone. Again, media is complicit in this, just as they were complicit in elevating Donald Trump's candidacy above other Republican hopefuls. And I would also say Hillary Clinton's opponent, only serious opponent, Bernie Sanders. So you want to talk about meddling in another country? You want to talk about somebody paying for some free speech rallies? and expressing viewpoints on Twitter that weren't favorable to Hillary Clinton. Come on, give me a break. Let's go to Honduras. This is all Hillary Clinton. This is the person that all of this political storm has been created. This investigation, the very person who should be facing indictments isn't. But we have documented her in the media of breaking law. Here's, again, they want to talk about that Putin undermined the 2016 election and assisted Donald Trump's campaign. And that's why we have Donald Trump as CEO of USA Inc. today. If not for all of this propaganda or these 13 Russians, Hillary Clinton might have won. Enough people would have turned out to vote for her and not voted for Jill Stein or Gary Johnson or any third-party candidate for those who couldn't stomach Donald Trump. But we have Hillary Clinton defending her role, again, as Secretary of State working for the Obama administration, supporting a coup. She's being questioned by Democracy Now! Reporter and journalist Juan Gonzalez. Let's give this a listen, shall we? And this was published on April the 13th, 2016, way ahead of the election. Are you telling us that the Russians paid for Democracy Now! To do this piece on Hillary Clinton, hear her defend her role in Honduras coup, a military coup against a democratically elected president? Let's give it a listen.
With the New York primary less than a week away, the race for the Democratic nomination continues to heat up. Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders will meet Thursday in Brooklyn for their first debate in over a month. We begin today's show looking at Hillary Clinton and Honduras. Earlier this week, the former Secretary of State publicly defended her role in the 2009 coup in Honduras when the military seized democratically elected President Manuel Zelaya in the middle of the night, deposed him, and sent him into exile. Since the coup, Honduras has become one of the most violent places in the world. Clinton was asked about Honduras during a meeting with the New York Daily News editorial board on Saturday. The question was posed by Democracy Now!'s Juan Gonzalez.
Secretary Clinton, I'd like to ask you if I can about Latin America.
Yes, yes.
And the policy specifically that you weren't directly involved in, the coup in Honduras. As you know, in 2009, the military overthrew President Zelaya.
Right.
There was a period there where the OAS was trying to isolate that regime. But apparently some of the emails that have come out as a result of State Department releases show that some of your top aides were urging you to declare the military coup, cut off U.S. aid. You didn't do that. You ended up negotiating with Oscar Arias a deal for new elections. But the situation in Honduras has continued to deteriorate. There's been 300 people killed by government forces. All these children fleeing and mothers from Honduras over the border into the United States. And just a few weeks ago, one of the leading environmental activists, Berta Cáceres, was assassinated in her home. Do you have any concerns about the role that you played in that particular situation, even not necessarily being in agreement with your top aides in the State Department?
Before we get these lies from crooked Hillary, before we get these lies from her mouth, how she's going to justify, and she nodded, agreed, we heard affirmation or confirmation of everything that whatever Juan Gonzalez was alleging, all the things that he just alleged, he's speaking directly to her. And I'm hearing, yes, she agreed that the woman was assassinated. Yes, my top aides told me to cut off money, U.S. tax dollar money, aiding the Honduras government that just acted in a very undemocratic fashion, seized a lawfully elected, democratically elected president put them out the country, and then installed its own puppet regime. And you did business with that regime. You did not cut off money. You did not raise the alarm and say, hey, this is wrong. This is anti-democratic. We can't stand for this. And so on and so forth. But no, she continued to fund the very people who committed this coup, this illegal change of government, according to international standards. And again, this is against her top aides' advice. Again, we keep seeing this show up. Hillary Clinton advised to fire her spiritual advisor who's sexually harassing teens, a married man sexually harassing teen campaign volunteers. She shields the man. Here we have her going against her top not campaign, but State Department advisors, saying to declare this a military coup, cut off all U.S. tax dollars, and she didn't do it. Created conditions so violent on the ground because of this military takeover that mothers were sending their unaccompanied children fleeing across. Do y'all not remember those headlines? Fleeing across the border into the United States. Connected to Hillary Clinton. So let's give a listen to whatever excuse, well-rehearsed lines that we're going to hear from Hillary Clinton in response to Juan Gonzalez's questions.
Well, let me again try to put this in context. The legislature, or the national legislature in Honduras and the national judiciary actually followed the law in removing President Zelaya. Now, I didn't like the way it looked or the way they did it, but they had a very strong argument that they had followed the Constitution and the legal precedents. And as you know, they really undercut their argument by spiriting him out of the country in his pajamas, where they sent, the military to, take him out of his bed and get him out of the country. So this began as a very mixed and difficult situation. If the United States government declares a coup, you immediately have to shut off all aid, including humanitarian aid, the Agency for International Development Aid, the support that we were providing at that time for a lot of very poor people. And that triggers a legal necessity. There's no way to get around it. So our assessment was, we will just make the situation worse by punishing the Honduran people if we declare a coup and we immediately have to stop all aid for...
All right, let's stop it right there. First verifiable lie right there. She said, our assessment, when what was stated was her top aides urged her to declare this a coup. There was no we, it was only Hillary Clinton who came to the conclusion that no, we don't want to do that because of X, Y, and Z. But her top advisors at the State Department wanted her to declare this a coup and not recognize the government that was erected as a result of this military coup. So we catch her in the first lie right there and saying, so again, but if you call Hillary Clinton a liar, oh, you must be a Russian troll. Or a Bernie bro. Or, no, please, give me a break.
The people, but we should slow walk and try to stop anything that the government could take advantage of without calling it a coup. So you're right. I worked very hard with leaders in the region and got Oscar Arias, the Nobel Prize winner, to take the lead on trying to broker a resolution without bloodshed. And that was very important to us, that, Zelaya had friends and allies, not just in Honduras, but in some of the neighboring countries like Nicaragua, and that we could have had a terrible civil war that would have been just terrifying in its loss of life. So I think we came out with...
Let's stop it right there. So what do you mean what we see in Libya in a terrible loss of life where you went to Libya and said we can't wait till you capture or kill Muammar Gaddafi, which is against United States law? Robert Mueller, FBI, U.S. Justice Department, United States Congress. So I'm not buying Hillary Clinton saying, oh, I was concerned about the loss of life that may have occurred, so blah, blah, blah. I think I pretty much have shown the hypocrisy of people within the United States when they talk about meddling, someone meddling in one country meddling in another country's election, which again, these are individuals. This isn't a Russian government, Russian, agents or double agents. This isn't KGB agents. These are just simply Russians. Russian citizens. That's their nationality. And quite frankly, a lot of this is getting into xenophobia as well. So here is a local article again. The indictment reveals Charlotte rally was spurred on by Russian interference. So you had several rallies in and around the police shooting of Keith Lamont Scott. Organic protests occurred, some violent, some were non-violent. But Charlotte was mentioned in this indictment, and that this was after the election of Donald Trump. I believe they are alleged to have, again, might have been this rally, pay for a cage of a jail cell with Hillary Clinton. And then they were also accused of paying for and recruiting people to become part of a anti-Trump, not my Trump rally. Both sides. So seems to me they was continuing to make money. But again, if we're gonna talk about meddling, let's really talk about what's meddling. When you're supporting military coups, when you are breaking U.S. law as Secretary of State, the Justice Department just turns a blind eye, and you call for the murder of a president of another country that was allied with the United States. Let's keep things in perspective, people. Let's keep things in perspective. All right, so there you have it. That's pretty much what I think about the 13 Russians who have been indicted, alleged to have been meddling in the elections, and really the charges are pertaining to identity theft and fraud, financial fraud. In terms of this being some grand conspiracy or operation by the KGB that had a heavy influence on people's opinion of Hillary Clinton, is basically baseless. These are baseless. This is just a waste of taxpayer money, and for a special counsel to be appointed and open up an investigation on a charge that the Trump campaign colluded with the Russian government, the KGB, so-called Vladimir Putin, to engage in illegal activities to change the outcome or guarantee a outcome of the 2016 election, with Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton? No. Doesn't meet the smell test. Again, no Americans have even been indicted to be colluding with. So that's my report on Mueller's indictment of these 13 Russians who set up a troll farm. Make sure that you support the production of independent grassroots media. Make a donation to the nonprofit Black Talk Media Project. You can find us online, blacktalkmediaproject.org. Also part of the managing organization of Black Talk Radio Network at blacktalkradionetwork.com. And you can also support the work by becoming a subscriber to our social media platform, btrcommunity.com. Just $24 a year. You could try it out free right now for 30 days. That is where I do most of my personal social media interactions with listeners of BTR News. All right, this has been Scotty. I'm out. Peace and blessings to all. Be safe.